What is happening in the United Kingdom right now is mainly caused by propaganda, as almost every bad thing is, and I will explain how. The underlying issue that is fueling these riots is mostly racism or Islamophobia. Well, there isn't really a difference. These people just don't like brown people. And brown people here refers to a pretty big group. Muslims, black people, Indians, and even immigrants. Because, as you all know, all immigrants are brown. And is there a good reason to hate these people? Well, not really. In the past, this hate was based upon pseudoscientific beliefs about skull shapes, penis sizes, and some other stuff. But today, this is mostly fueled by propaganda spread around the internet, relying entirely on the association fallacy. The association fallacy is an argument that if item 1 is in group A and also in group B, then if item 2 is also in group A, then it also must be in group B. Or to explain it with an example, if a bird can fly and has 2 legs, then if I have 2 legs, then I can also fly. Or a more relevant example, if a brown people commits a crime, then if someone else is also brown, then they also must be a criminal. And this rhetoric is used to justify violence. Basically, taking a single negative example of a group and then arguing that the rest of the group is also the same. And this is a pretty serious issue and a big one, affecting tens of millions of people just in Europe. Worldwide, it's more likely in the billions. And it should be talked about more, but I don't really know what to say about it. I mean, this rhetoric can be defeated in about 2 minutes by explaining the underlying fallacy and why this reasoning doesn't really work. The current riots in the UK are also fueled by this fallacy. And the spark that set it off is misinformation regarding the religion and the birthplace of the attacker, who killed 3 children and hurt many more. Namely that he was a Muslim asylum seeker. Well, it turned out that he was born in Wales and there was no credible information that he was a Muslim. In fact, he was born to Christian parents, which says nothing about his religion, but given that most people share the same religion as their parents did, it's likely that he was also Christian. All of this didn't really matter on one hand because he was brown, meaning that he must have been a Muslim or an asylum seeker. On the other hand, people are very susceptible to propaganda. So since a random Twitter post said that he was Muslim, well then it must have been true. So instead of doing what the UK government and every other government does, crying and whimpering about misinformation, I will try to address the root cause and help people recognize and understand propaganda. So I will do that. I have videos and I have memes, because most people get their political opinions from memes for some reason. And I will explain how these are trying to influence you using fallacies or other subjective methods that are usually designed to appeal to your emotions. The very first one is this video.
Went on to say that you did not want your money going to immigrants who, quote, rape our kids and get priority, end quote. This offence is so serious that an immediate custodial sentence is unavoidable. Would you stand, please? The sentence that I pass has been reduced by 1/3 to reflect your guilty plea. The sentence is one of 20 months imprisonment.
So, is it real? Yes, I also found it on BBC. And according to other news sites, the guy posted something similar. The video has no fallacies or other subjective messages in it, so why do I bring it up as an example of propaganda? Well, you probably noticed the AI watermark. But if someone is not lazy, they can just solve that issue. And most people will not pay attention to the movement of the hair, they will just scroll through their phone, not paying attention, listen to it, and they won't even think about it for more than 5 seconds and just believe it. You may have also noticed that the BBC video is shorter. And that is because the sentencing was not for a Facebook post mentioned in the AI video, but for another Facebook post, urging people to attack a hotel housing refugees and asylum seekers that was later attacked. So sentencing someone for enticing violence sounds different than sentencing someone for posting on Facebook. And the AI video is exactly about that. It tries to paint a picture that the UK government is cracking down on dissent and opposing opinions, especially against people who oppose immigration, and that there is no freedom of speech and so on. I highlight this AI video because apart from the lack of editing to the watermark, it is very easy to pass it off as something real. The guy was sentenced for the same amount of time, and he was sentenced for a Facebook post. You can also find a very similar Facebook post from him that can serve as further evidence. So can this BBC article with a section of this video. These AI videos or images are most effective when they are not completely made up, but are actually trying to misrepresent real events. Even just a single word can significantly change the meaning of a real video, especially in this case where the real and fake video is about sentencing for a Facebook post, but one is racist but also relatively mild, and the other one is just urging people to commit violence, attack other people, and had also had real consequences. And unfortunately, a lot of people take this at face value. Even those who try to check the legitimacy of the video will be met with this clip from the BBC and take it as evidence. So even if you begin fact-checking the video, if you don't pay attention, you will still believe that this AI video is actually real. There are also a lot of normal propaganda memes, ones with a simple message like this one, which implies that the current arrests regarding the riots are a crackdown on dissent. This is basically the old version of old propaganda posters conveying a message with pictures instead of a simple sentence. My guess is that if you just put a simple sentence, then people will treat it as someone else's opinion and will be more skeptical, but if you do the same with an image or other sorts of abstract message, then they will interpret this information and make up their own opinion based on it. And since this one is their own opinion, well, they are more likely to trust it and will be less skeptical of it. But I'm not a psychologist, so again, this is only a guess. But there are also more complicated memes that are worth explaining. This example has two implied claims. One is the same as the previous example, that the UK government bans and tries to silence people with differing opinions, but it also refers to these differing opinions as truth, trying to reinforce the beliefs of people who already hold these opinions. It is also vague, so it can refer to any number of claims, whether it is the grand replacement theory, or immigration being a mass invasion, or that all Muslims are terrorists, and so on. Another important part of this meme is the phrase community standards, which is also often used on social media websites, where you can actually argue both in favor and against immigration, bringing up sound arguments, for example, economic factors. What you can do, however, is calling the immigrants derogatory names or calling for their genocide. And people view these last two items as censorship, trying to limit their free speech or just preventing them from expressing their own opinion. Having this phrase, community standards, in the context of this meme about arrests for Facebook posts reinforces this belief that social media also censors their opinion. This example is also trying to present recent police activity in a similar way, but apart from this, it also has more implied claims. By associating the arrested people with grannies, it implies that they are actually innocent and didn't do any serious crimes. It also implies that the recent riots are justified and a desperate reaction to an existential threat, because according to them, immigration is one such threat. This one looks simple at first sight, pushing the same message that people are arrested for dissenting opinions. But the word "think" here also suggests that the people who were arrested are holding these opinions because they came to it as a logical conclusion, and others don't really think about these things, they just follow their feelings or parrot the opinion dictated to them. Basically the NPC meme. This one is a common template and you have probably already seen similar things before. It presents the governments as incompetent and blind to the obvious, and presents Muslims as a homogeneous group of which all members want to murder other people. This example clearly references the Great Replacement theory, displaying brown people as a weapon used against whites by people with big noses. I wonder which group is being referenced by big noses. The interesting part is the commonality with older propaganda posters, where the enemy is very often depicted as dangerous but at the same time also weak, like in this Nazi poster portraying a huge Soviet soldier that can be seen destroying Christianity and holding several weapons, but at the same time also being afraid. Same goes for these American posters depicting Japanese as subhuman but also dangerous. Exactly what this World War I poster does with the Germans. Or these. The point of presenting this seemingly contradictory enemy that is weak and also dangerous is to urge people to fight against it. It's a low stakes and high reward action. The enemy poses a serious danger, so if you don't do anything, there will be grave consequences. But fighting against it is actually not dangerous because they are weak, dumb, and subhuman. And this meme does the same, equating brown people with bombs, treating them as weapons and dangerous, but at the same time also as dumb, subhuman, and weak. It's exactly the same message. Doing nothing will cause great problems, but fighting against them is easy. You just have to go out and commit a hate crime. This one, about invasive species, is a dog whistle referencing the Great Replacement theory, equating immigrants with invasive species, implying that immigrants will also outbreed and take over the native population. Or maybe I'm just paranoid. But the title of the post says otherwise, and so do these comments. Someone even made a simplified version so that everyone can understand the message. I also explained more propaganda in my previous video. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to my Patreons J. Brandon and Arda Bon for supporting my channel.